I still regret stopping my car that night, because the little girl I picked up on that empty highway wasn't human. I still don't know why I stopped the car that night. Maybe if I had just kept driving, my life would still be normal today. Even now, when I try to sleep, I still see her face staring at me from the back seat. And the worst part is, I don't think she ever really left. This happened only a few months ago. It was around 2 a.m. and I was driving alone on a long empty highway during a storm. Rain was crashing against the windshield so hard that I could barely see the road ahead. The highway was completely deserted. No cars, no lights, no signs of life, just darkness. I had already been driving for hours, and honestly, I was exhausted. My eyes felt heavy, and I just wanted to reach home as fast as possible. That's when I saw her, a little girl standing on the side of the road. She was wearing a red raincoat and wasn't moving at all. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining things because of the rain, but as my headlights passed over her, I realized she was real. She was just standing there silently, staring directly at my car. The place made absolutely no sense. There were no houses nearby, no gas stations, no town, nothing but trees and darkness. I kept driving past her, but after a few seconds, a horrible feeling suddenly hit me, the kind of feeling where your instincts start screaming that something is wrong. I looked into the rearview mirror. She was still there, standing in the rain, not moving. Then slowly, she lifted her hand, asking for a ride. Honestly, every part of me wanted to ignore her and leave, but something inside me kept saying, what if she needs help? So against my better judgment, I pressed the brakes. The car slowly stopped. Rain hammered loudly on the roof as I reversed back toward her. The closer she got, the colder I started feeling. Not normal cold. It felt unnatural. Like all the warmth had suddenly disappeared from the air. Her face stayed hidden under the hood of the raincoat. I lowered the window slightly. "Are you okay?" I asked. For a few seconds she didn't respond. Then finally, in a soft, emotionless voice, she whispered, "Please, take me to the old motel." The way she said it made my stomach twist. Her voice sounded empty, almost lifeless. But before I could say anything else, she slowly opened the back door and sat inside. The second she entered the car, everything changed. The windows instantly fogged up. The inside temperature dropped so much that I could suddenly see my breath. I immediately checked the AC. It was completely off. A strange fear slowly crawled into my chest. I tried acting normal and continued driving. The car became silent. The only sounds were the rain and the tires moving across the wet road. Then suddenly, from the back seat, she spoke again. "Have you ever seen someone die?" My hands tightened around the steering wheel. I forced a nervous laugh. What kind of question is that? No answer. I slowly looked into the rearview mirror. And bro, I almost crashed the car. Her face didn't look human anymore. Her skin was pale white, her lips were dark blue, and her eyes completely black, not normal black. It looked like there was nothing inside them, like empty holes. I quickly looked back at the road, breathing heavily. Then after a few seconds, I checked the mirror again, and suddenly, she looked normal, just sitting there quietly. At that moment, I started convincing myself that maybe exhaustion was messing with my head. Maybe I was hallucinating. But then, she quietly started laughing, a soft, creepy laugh, and she whispered, "You got scared when you saw me, didn't you?" The way she said it made my blood run cold. I didn't reply. I couldn't. The highway ahead kept getting darker. Even the rain seemed heavier now. Then suddenly, the radio turned on by itself. Loud static exploded through the speakers. I jumped in fear, then through the static. A broken voice started repeating, "Turn back! Turn back! Turn back!" I immediately shut the radio off, but only seconds later, the GPS screen started glitching. The map disappeared, and one sentence kept flashing over and over again. "You should not be here." My hand started shaking badly. I tried slowing the car down, but for some reason, my foot wouldn't press the brake pedal. It felt frozen, like my body wasn't fully under my control anymore. Panic started taking over me. Then through the heavy rain, I finally saw lights ahead, or at least I thought they were lights. As I got closer, I realized it was an old motel. The sign outside was half broken. Most of the letters were missing. The building looked abandoned. Dark windows, rotting walls, no cars outside, no lights anywhere. Then from the back seat, the girl quietly said, "We're here." The moment she said those words, every hair on my body stood up. I slowly parked the car in front of the motel, and then everything became completely silent. Even the rain suddenly sounded distant, like the entire world had gone quiet. I swallowed nervously and slowly turned around toward the back seat. And bro, my blood froze instantly. She was sitting directly behind me now, only inches away from my face. Even though seconds ago she had been sitting near the window, I never heard her move. I never saw her move. But now she was there, close enough for me to smell something rotten coming from her. Her face had completely changed. Her skin looked torn apart. Black liquid dripped slowly from her mouth. Her eyes were fully black. And then she smiled. It wasn't human. Her mouth stretched wider than it should have. I screamed and instantly jumped out of the car. Cold rain slammed against my body as I stumbled onto the road. My heart was beating so fast it felt painful. I started backing away from the motel. Then I noticed movement inside the windows, shapes, dozens of them. People standing completely still in the darkness, watching me. As lightning flashed across the sky, I finally saw them clearly. Some of their faces were burned, some twisted unnaturally, some looked half melted, and every single one of them had completely black eyes. Then slowly, the motel's front door creaked open. One by one, they started walking outside. Bro, they were all staring directly at me. Then suddenly, they began moving faster, coming toward me. I turned and ran as fast as I could. Behind me, I heard dozens of footsteps splashing through the rain. The sounds kept getting closer. I could hear breathing, whispers, crying, and strange laughing noises behind me. At one point, I accidentally looked back. Worst mistake of my life. Those things were no longer walking, they were running. Their bodies moved unnaturally fast. Some crawled on all fours, some twisted while moving. And the little girl was standing in the middle of the road smiling at me. Even though seconds earlier she had been behind me, I nearly collapsed from fear. I kept running until, finally, far ahead, I saw the lights of a gas station. I sprinted toward it with everything I had left. The moment I got inside, I slammed the door shut. An old man behind the counter looked shocked when he saw me. I was shaking so badly I could barely speak. I told him everything. The girl, the motel, the black-eyed people, everything. The old man's face slowly turned pale. Then he quietly asked, "You went near that motel?" I nodded. Without saying anything, he reached under the counter and pulled out an old newspaper. And bro, the second I saw the picture, my stomach dropped. It was her. The same little girl, same red raincoat, same face. The newspaper headline read, "27 people die in motel fire." The article was over 20 years old. The old man looked at me and whispered, "That motel burned down years ago. No one survived." I could barely breathe anymore. Then slowly I asked, "What about the little girl?" The old man stayed silent for a moment. Then he quietly answered, "She was the first one to die." I didn't leave the gas station until sunrise. The next morning, police officers drove with me to the motel location. But when we arrived there was nothing. No motel, no building, nothing except an empty field surrounded by dead trees. The police looked confused. One officer even told me, "There has never been a motel here." At that point, I genuinely thought I was losing my mind. Then I opened my car's back door and instantly froze. Lying on the seat was a wet red raincoat, and underneath it was a small folded note. My hands shook as I opened it. Written in messy handwriting were the words, "Thanks for bringing me back." I felt all the blood drain from my body. And then I noticed something even worse. At the bottom of the note, fresh wet fingerprints slowly started appearing by themselves, right in front of my eyes. Small fingerprints, like a child's hand. That was the moment I completely broke down. Since that night, I never drive alone after dark anymore. I barely even sleep properly now, because sometimes, late at night, I hear soft knocking sounds coming from my car outside, and whenever I look through the window, I see someone sitting in the back seat, wearing a red raincoat, just silently waiting for me to come closer.